That's better. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Helena, and I'm popping on. I'm doing my makeup, getting ready to do a lot of filming today. A lot of work I'm doing for the Anywhere Office course, some new extra modules I'm adding to my new course, the Anywhere Office course, which is going to be coming out very soon. All about how to use your birth chart to find your talents, your gifts, how to make money, how to build your career, how to find your right career, your right environment, your right locations, where and how, using your birth chart and astrocartography map, and how to work remote from anywhere in the world. It's probably one of my biggest courses I've made in over a year. I'm really, really excited. All new modules, everything's new. That's coming out very soon. And so I'm getting ready to start filming, put on my makeup, getting ready to start filming some of those new added modules. But I just wanted to pop on real quick and say hello. And I am back home in Versailles, back home in France. So happy to be home. So many reasons why I'm so happy to be home, but oh my gosh, my body feels so much better here. I don't know what it was, but when I was in the US, all the food I was eating was not my body could not connect with the food in the US. The water was so hard on my skin and everything has balanced back out again. It's amazing. And so I'm just so happy to be back home, happy to be back in my house. I don't know if you guys can see my Christmas tree. I just put up our Christmas tree. We got all of our Christmas decorations all over. I'm thinking about doing more live streams here on YouTube again. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I felt really inspired today and I wanted to come on and give you some inspiration, some motivation, some empowerment on how to stay motivated and how to stop letting fear get in your way. Stop letting the fear of failure specifically, stop you from pursuing your heart and pursuing the things that light you up. And so we're going to talk about that today and some empowerment, some tips I have for you. And also, if you haven't followed me over on my newsletter yet, you definitely want to get on the newsletter. I'll include some links in the description down below. If you get my free journal prompts, which by the way, I created a full PDF of all the journal prompts that I use in my own life. You can download those free journal prompts, add to your journaling routine, as well as my free meditations. You can get those down below and you'll be subscribed to my newsletter. And then you'll get to stay updated and get lots of amazing emails from me, joyful, uplifting tips, inspiration, all the things. I also send free meditations every now and again on the newsletter. So if you want to get all the extra special gifts that I send out for free to those of you on the newsletter, and it's free, by the way, newsletter is completely free. I don't do a Substack. I don't do paid newsletters. Oh, no. It's all free for you guys. So you can check that out in the link in the description. I'll post the pinned here at the end. But let's talk about fear of failure and why this is so important. The fear of failure stops us from ever trying. It's one of the biggest fears that most of us have. It stops us from taking any type of action on the things that are really calling to us. We stop data collecting, we stop researching, we stop taking micro steps, moving at a snail's pace, energy toward our goals, because we think of the worst case scenario. And so a little tip I have for you is really sit with that for a second. If the worst thing happened, what would that look like? Honestly, what would that look like? And how would that affect you? Chances are, well, one, the worst case scenario is most likely not going to happen. Just the odds are not in the favor of that. And second off, well, what would you do if the worst case scenario happened? How would you handle it? Think about that. I feel like sometimes a lot of people don't sit down and really think about, okay, if this worst case scenario thing happened to me, how would I get out of it? What would I do next? How would I process that? Right? Someone just said, don't let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. Yes, a Cinderella story reference. Oh my God, I love it. I was just watching that movie 4 days ago. It's so freaking funny that you mentioned this because I literally was just watching this. Oh my gosh. Sam says it's 10 p.m. here in the Philippines, and I was about to go to sleep, but I saw you live. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy to support you and empower you. But the fear of failure stops us. And to think, going back to that root of thinking about, okay, if this actually happened, how would I handle it? You will handle it. Who says that you can't handle it? I made a video a couple months ago on Instagram, and I was about to publish a prediction that I made for the election, the presidential election with astrology. And I was about to click publish, but I didn't publish it yet. And I was kind of nervous on it. I was like, I don't know, should I publish this or not? This might be a bad thing. Should I do it or not? And then I just thought to myself, I just had this gut knowingness in my body that was like, so what's the worst thing that can happen? You get the prediction wrong and you get all these mean comments and people who say that that you're wrong and you're inaccurate and you're not a good astrologer. And I was like, okay, so let's say that happens. What's going to happen if that happens? If I get all this onslaught of hate, what am I going to do? Build a new thing. Keep going. Who's to say that all of the people are going to stop you from continuing to go and to do the thing that you love? And I think that's something that a lot of people don't think about is a lot of people don't think about how you don't have to stop just because you fail. You don't have to quit just because you make a mistake. You could get canceled on the internet. No one's going to cancel you except for yourself. You are the only person that can stop you from actually quitting. You are the only person that can stop you from keep going. No one has that control or power over you except for yourself. So, big eye opener. You are in control of what you do. No one else. You can decide where you want to go from here. No one else. When you realize I am uncancelable, I am untouchable, I am unshakable, I can fail, but it doesn't really fucking matter because I'm going to keep going anyway. When you realize that consciously and maybe subconsciously too, if you like doing those meditations type work, which I include in my slow living bundle if you want to get those. But if you realize that, like no one else has that power over you except for yourself, who's to say you just can't keep going? Who's going to say you failed? Like, did you fail? There's this amazing quote by Theodore Roosevelt. It goes something along the lines of the only people who make mistakes are the people who are actually doing it. The people who actually have the gall, the nerve, the gumption to put themselves in the arena. Anyone who criticizes you for being in the arena and actually doing it, do they have the courage themselves to actually put themselves in the arena? Maybe not. And that goes back to the idea of fear of failure. So many of us are afraid of failure, are afraid of the worst case scenario. One of the biggest fears within failure is fear of being criticized by the group, by the community, by our fellow man, right? We are social creatures. We are social beings. We want to connect with community. We want to connect. But I think there's something really powerful about realizing I don't give an F anymore. And when you realize that and you step into that energy of, I really don't care if people don't like me. I don't care if people can't connect with me. I really don't give an F anymore. That energy is so magnetic because why? It comes from a place of surrender. It comes from a place of trust, anchored, empowered trust. Trust in yourself, trust in life, trust in God, if you use that word, trust in the process and the flow of life and timing, trust in your transits, all of that. When you surrender to trust, it's all going to be okay. And even if it doesn't work out, even if I fail, even if the worst case scenario happens, I will still be okay because I trust in life. That energy of trust and also not caring what people think about you or the fear of failure because you trust way more, like your trust is infinitely more powerful than the fear. That's when stuff's going to move. That's when catalysts are going to appear. The other thing is something that really, I think is really helpful for any of you guys who are afraid of failure, the fear of failure, fear of falling down, right? Is when you realize that the work is more important than your fear, you can't quit. Like when you realize the mission of what you're doing, the work that you're doing, your love of community, your love of your family, whatever it is that you are going for in your life, your goals in life, it's bigger than your fear. It's way bigger. And when you realize that and you decide, this is more important than my fear, this is more important than me, this is bigger than me, this has nothing to do with me, this is way bigger than that. And you start living your life in this dance, this celebratory dance of, this is what I'm going for. This is bigger than me. This is not about me. That becomes overwhelmingly more valuable and powerful than the fear itself. The fear of failure just becomes a background noise. It's not even a main character. It's just kind of over there in the background. So what if you fail? So what if you make a mistake? So what if you fall down? You have the power and the decision to get back up if you choose to. You have that ability to decide. I do not fall or fail unless I choose to fail. Now, there is a power in letting go, and that's a difference in quitting. Sometimes letting go of something that's not lighting you up anymore, like if the mission or the importance of the work you're doing is just not exciting anymore and it's not lighting you up, it doesn't feel like I'm on a mission, this work is more important than me. If it doesn't feel like that anymore, give it some time before making any decisions, but you can let it go. And that's not necessarily quitting. It's just not in alignment with what you're here to do anymore, what your soul's here to do. As an example, during the election, I felt really called in my body and my intuition to make videos about like the predictions with the astrology for the election. So many people loved the videos. So many people got a lot of reassurance and like calm, and like their nervous system felt more regulated through watching my videos. Plus, a lot of people just learned a lot about astrology through those videos. But what I've realized after this election is, and I have a video that's going to go up on my other channel. If you're not following me yet, Astrocartography with Helena is where I post all my astrology content. But what I realized is like, one, I don't know if presidential predictions are predictable with astrology because they have to deal with the collective themes, and they have to deal with, like, this isn't just like a personal birth chart reading or like a personal transit reading. This is like collective world stage. This is kind of a huge issue that everyone's right involved with. But I've realized, like, what is the best use of my talents and my what do I really love? Like, going back home to like, what am I really passionate about? And since the election's over, I'm like, let's go back to the root of what am I really, what's my mission? To help people move to places in the world that best support them. Relocation astrology, astro mapping, move abroad content. I've been passionate and talking about on my blog in 2018. I started making content on 2018 about why I moved to France. Why? What's the reasoning for it? In hopes to inspire other people to see big picture, like what is available to them, how life could be easier, cost of living, food quality, healthcare, education, how everything could be so much easier by relocation. And then I found astrocartography later on, and it was like, oh my God, astrocartography with move abroad. Boom, there's my niche, right? But I've decided that I want to go back into that because that is the mission. That is what I feel really called to do. I'm still going to make those other types of content if I desire to. But the thing is, I think a lot of people, they quit or they stop when they experience failure. They quit or they stop when they make a mistake. And when you decide, like, that's just not who I am not available for that. I'm not available for that. There is something really powerful that encourages you to keep showing up. So again, it's going back to that idea of you are in control. Like you are in control of what you decide to do. You have free will to decide what you want to do. You can't fail unless you decide you're going to fail. And then also, and that you choose to fail, whether that's failing in terms of letting other people, like, affect you, or making a big mistake, or saying you're going to do something and then you don't, and then you feel like, oh, I didn't do the thing I said I was going to do, right? Whatever that fear of failure is. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, you are the man in the arena. And that takes way more courage and bravery than anyone who is, I don't know, criticizing the man in the arena. And the man in the arena is that Theodore Roosevelt quote, this famous speech. And then third is, when you realize that the thing that you want is bigger than you, the mission is bigger than you, your personal fears really don't matter, or they do matter, but it's like, it's background noise. It's not really relevant. It's not really important because the mission is way bigger than what those fears are. And then realizing you always have the next day. You can always start again the next day. I think a lot of people, when they fail or they make a mistake, they don't allow themselves to cry. I had a rot day like a week ago when I first got back home from the US. I just woke up and I was just in a mood and I needed a full day to cry. Just what I needed. I needed a full day to cry. I needed a full day to rethink things and go back to my journal and go back to my values, what's important to me, and also just like have a rot day. Like just sit and rot and like that be okay and not shame myself or guilt myself for needing that. And then after I had that rot day of a lot of crying, it was like I just let everything out. And then the next day, I didn't cry or anything. Like that was done. That was done. I did it all the day before. But then it was like the next day I started moving and I did one thing on my to-do list that day. And then the next day I did 3 things on the to-do list. And that day I went for a long 2-hour walk, right? So it's like allow yourself when you do fail, when you do make a mistake, when you do question things, allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to hold space for yourself and cry and rest if you need to. The thing I trust in is my energy always bounces back. Always. The only time when it didn't bounce back was in Saturn was on my ascendant years ago. I think this was in like 2013. And I had like a month of being really sad. I was like in a real depression, like long story, but I was like questioning faith. I was questioning like angels and support team and like all that. And I've never, like, I have Jupiter on my ascendant. Like, faith is my middle name. Like, I have so much faith in life. I trust completely in life. I always believe that the universe is always looking out for me. There's always something better than what happened. Like, there's always more that where that came from. I have an abundance mindset, bigger, like expansion, like that is me. But I was going through this kind of depression in 2013 when Saturn was over my ascendant. And that was like the longest time that I've needed to get out of it. But I trust that the energy always swings back. Always. You need a week, it'll swing back. Trust. And I have a blog post on this on my blog, helenawoods.com/blog, that I wrote like a year or 2 ago. But it's about my creative process and how I always trust that creativity will come back. Even if there's like a period in the month, with a cycle, or a period in the year when I'm feeling a little tired or stale, it always comes back up. But the thing you have to do is rest. You've got to surrender and rest and let go. You can't be forcing yourself to do something when the creativity is not there. If it's not there, let it go. It will come back, but you've got to surrender. You've got to trust that it will come back. It's like that boomerang, right? You got to throw it. It will come back, but you have to let it go. You have to throw it with full force and trust that it will come back. You don't need to be afraid of that. And so that goes in alignment with the fear of failure, of like the fear of missing out, the fear of regret, the fear of failing at something that you want to do. Sometimes you just need to break, pause, trust that it will come back, and it will. I hope that inspires you today. I felt really inspired and empowered to like help you if you are going through something similar, if you have a fear of failure. And remembering that question of like, what's the worst that can happen? Honestly, get really honest with yourself. What is the worst thing that can happen if you fail? I remember posting this Instagram reel, and I was like right before I made this public prediction with the election, and I was like, so let's say you fail and you make a bad prediction. So what are you going to do? Start a business? Create a new reputation? Keep going. Like, why are you letting a failure stop you? And I remember posting that, and that's led me this whole time. Like, I posted all these videos on YouTube about all my predictions, and like, it's scary to do that, but also like, I'm comfortable staking my entire reputation on a prediction like this that is actually really hard to do. It's really hard to predict an election. It's extremely hard. A lot of like the best astrologers also get them wrong because it's just very, very hard to do. Um, but it's like I didn't I knew when I started that this was an experiment and it was going to be fun. And I'm not going to let a failure of a prediction stop me from anything. I'll just keep going. And so I hope that inspires you today. I have a long list of failures I've had in my life, and I always get back up. Always. I never let it stop me. Because why would I? Why would I? The mission and what I do is way more important than a stupid little minor failure. Am I gonna, and also, are you gonna let other people stop you from living the life of your dreams? Absolutely not. No, this is your life, honey. This is your life. This is your life. This is your existence. You choose how you're going to live this life. What are you going to do? How are you going to spend your time? What are your habits? What's your lifestyle? What are the books you're going to read? What are the documentaries that you're going to watch? What YouTube channels are you going to consume? You have free will. You have choice in deciding how you're going to fill your day. And so are you going to let fear of failure, fear of all the things, fear of criticism, fear of missing out, fear of regret, all these fears, are you going to let those fears stop you from living your precious existence that you have, this miracle that you're even alive right now? That you were birthed and you're here and you're healthy and you've lived this long, that you have lived and you've gone through all the things that you have gone through, the ups and the downs, the transformations, the challenges, the rising as a phoenix and coming back. Are you going to let fear and failure stop you from all of that? No way. You keep going. You keep going. And if you need to pivot and course correct along the way, do that. I've pivoted so many times in my life for the better because I found something that didn't work and then I went, pivot. You know, for years I was making content on like moving abroad and like living in France. And that worked, but it wasn't like lighting me up. And then I found astrophotography and it was like, oh, it's this and this. It's merging of the two. So allow yourself to course correct, pivot, data collect, find those things, pivot, tweak, but you don't stop. You keep going. If you need to rest and surrender, season of rest and surrender, go for it. If you're in a balsamic lunar progression, I understand. Take all the time you need. Take all the time you need. When I was in my balsamic lunar progression, my dad had passed. I got fired from my job. Everything was falling apart in my life. Everything. I had no idea what I was going to do because for my whole life, I was an actress and I was like, I have no other skills. I don't know how to do anything else. Like literally, I've been trained since I was 7 years old to be a theater performer, to be a dancer, to be an actress, to be a singer. I know no other skill. What am I going to do? But the balsamic lunar progression encourages you to surrender and to let go, to find something new. Then when you get to that new moon progression, new beginning. I see this all the time with people. Their lives completely change, new career, something brand new that they've never thought about. And that's what happened for me when I entered my new moon progressed phase. Started doing blogging, started doing YouTube, started going deep into astrology, new moon phase. Now I'm at the first quarter phase, so I'm still building up to the full moon. But anyway, that's off topic. We don't need to talk about that. Anyway, I just wanted to support you. Yes, I wanted to support you, encourage you, and just let you know that I'm here. And I will continue to be here and I will continue to show up for you guys because for me, nothing is more important than leading from your heart and service. You know, the ruler of my chart's in the 6th. Like, I'm really here to be of service in any way to support people. And I will continue to do that. I will make videos. I will continue to be there for you because it lights me up. And there's no better way that I'd want to spend my days than being with my husband, obviously. My husband, main priority is my husband, but our marriage, my spiritual connection with God and the universe, of course. But like, aside from that, it's supporting you guys in meditations, free meditations, which I've included down below, or blog posts, or whatever you guys, need from me. And so feel free to comment below on this video, in the comments of this video, and just let me know, what do you need help with? What do you need support with? Do you like the videos more with my voice? Do you like videos? Do you like more podcasts where it's audio and you can listen on the go? Do you like books? Do you like reading books more? There's so many things I want to do. I have the next book I'm writing is coming out, will be coming out. I'm looking for a publisher. I want to get a literary agent because I feel like this book could be really big and I want to wait till my Jupiter transits through my ninth. But like I have so many book ideas. Like I have 7 book ideas in my Google Drive of like all these book titles. And like there's so many things I want to do, but I'd love to hear from you. What is the style that you most like to see? Is it video? Is it podcast? Is it books? I have a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts. And as we get into this Mars retrograde, a lot of us are going to be thinking about what do we actually want? What do we want to do? How do we want to take action? And I know that's something that I'm going to be thinking about a lot with Mars going retrograde in my 10th house of career, my 9th house of teaching and astrology. So definitely some things to be thinking about, and look at your chart and see where you have Cancer and Leo in your birth chart, because that's going to be kind of some questions you're going to be thinking about. Where do I want to take action? How do I want to change what I want to do going forward? I think these are going to be some thoughts that a lot of us are thinking in December, January, February, and then into March. So something to think about. I hope this supports you and encourages you. Do not let the fear of failure stop you from pursuing your heart and living your one precious life. Your life is more important than fear. Your life is way more valuable than any fear that comes up. So I hope you have a magical day. I'm sending you so much love. Scorpio rising out. I hope this empowers you. Bye, friends. Love you guys.